Good evening and welcome to the Biz News Briefing. Today is Thursday, the 12th of February. I'm Kerry Lanigan. Tonight, David Shapiro unpacks the Roedean King David fallout. South Africa's mining reform bottlenecks, Gauteng's water crisis, and Siemens on surging US data center demand. Our top story tonight. David Shapiro addresses the Roedean King David anti-Semitism controversy and why he sees it as a serious leadership and social cohesion issue.
So apparently a game had been arranged between King David. This was a normal fixture between schools, between King David and between Roedean. And it was taken.
And King David's a Jewish school.
It's a Jewish school. Now, if I can explain that, because it's important. My 3 kids went to King David. I've got 2 grandchildren. Yes, there's an affiliation with Israel, but this is not a militant Zionist school. This is a very middle-of-the-road school where, kids in the community go there. They go there for academic achievement. They're not a great sporting school. They're typical people of our community. So many business people today, so many professionals were schooled at King David, and they're certainly not radicals in any kind of sense. Anyway, the point is that Roedean cancelled or postponed the game or whatever the reason and said, we're having trouble. I don't know the exact conversations. I haven't got them in front of me, but there was an issue. And when the principals phoned each other and got together, it appeared that the parents or the board from Roedean did not want the game to take place because of the school, and I'm putting it into my own words, because they were Jewish. They gave other excuses down the way, and they tried to get their way, get themselves out of it. They did say they postponed the game and that they could come the next day on the Wednesday. And they thought the match was on, but when they arrived there was nobody there. There was no one there to greet them. It wasn't. There certainly wasn't a welcome committee, and that led to the tape or the message that I sent you, which was from one of the high school masters who'd been there 36 years. They were completely snubbed, and subsequent to that, issues have come out around the whole game that there were parents at Roedean who did not want their children to play against King David. They've tried to soften it by saying they were scared of maybe security issues, whatever it is. Believe me, there's nothing scary about a few Jewish schoolgirls. They're coming with tennis rackets. They're not coming with Uzis, and they're certainly not coming with an army to protect them. And I think the whole thing was blown out and was very concerning because this is the first time that we'd seen anything like this. We are not going to play against you because you're Jewish.
Mining expert Peter Major reports from the Mining Indaba in Cape Town. He told Alec Hogg this morning that global momentum is strong, but South Africa is still lagging as licensing and cadastral delays persist.
From the Joburg Mining Indaba, which I did attend, there were a few themes that I'd be interested to know if there were any updates on them. The cadastra, which is a big word that most people outside of mining wouldn't have a clue what it's about. Perhaps you can let us know, was there anything spoken about that in this very fancy data system or online system where all of the opportunities are going to be available for everyone to see?
Gibberish, Alec. That's all I heard was gibberish. Yeah. Weak, nonsensical excuses why it's not progressing. And you're right. This came up first week of October in the Joburg Mining Indaba. And they could call that the South African Mining Indaba because you were there. The majority of that Indaba covers South Africa. A little bit peripherally, Namibia, Botswana, maybe Zimbabwe around us, but not much peripherally. This Indaba, this is the African Indaba. So there was nothing new. And South Africa is just one country out of 55 in Africa. And you could see it at this Indaba. They were just one of the players. They weren't the standout player. They weren't the giant. They were just one of the players. And to put it in context even more, figure out the Minerals Council releases figures that shows what our production is every year, what our labor component is. It doesn't even include a lot of our minerals, fluorspar, phosphate, base metals, heavy mineral sands. There's a lot of items missing there. I don't know why the government doesn't include those. But even if I try and factor in my calculations, what those are, we come up with about $50 billion. But hell, this is in an era of good prices. And we've oscillated around that 50 billion now for 10, 20 years. So it means there's no growth. Now look at the Congo that literally had zero copper production 25 years ago. They were down to 30,000 tons a year. Keep Copper could put out 30,000 tons a year. And here that's all the whole DRC did 25 years ago. They are somewhere over 3.3 million tons of pure copper. They are a solid number 2 now. And Friedland likes saying, they're breathing down Chile's back. Not quite, but they passed Peru. Peru did 3 million tons the last few years. They have zoomed by there. Peru's now down to 2.9. Chile is about 5.5 million tons, trying for 6. Now, the DRC, if you got 3.3 million tons of copper, and copper is $13,000 a ton, that's $40 million. So DRC is producing $40 million worth of copper, and South Africa is producing 50 billion compared to 40 billion for DRC. And that's our iron ore, our gold, our PGMs, our chrome, our manganese, our coal, our heavy mineral sands, our diamonds. We're producing this wide range of all these minerals. And yeah, it sounds good. We did 50 billion last year. And here's the DRC. And sometimes we're not even sure it's a country. It's many provinces with warlords. It's got a full-time terrorist revolution going on there on its eastern border with Rwanda. And yet, just their copper. So if you add in their gold, I think they're already passing us. Add in the cobalt and the gold. DRC's passed us.
Finalizing your February tax planning? Gauteng's latest Section 12B solar investment offers taxpayers a tax deduction of up to 230%. In simple terms, for every rand invested, up to 1 rand can be deducted from your tax bill, while you continue to earn income from solar assets. This applies to both income tax and capital gains tax. Visit gauteng.co.za to find out more.
In his weekly chat with BizNews journalist Chris Steyn, election analyst Wayne Sussman weighs in on Gauteng's water crisis, saying the politics around service failure could carry real electoral consequences.
You mentioned the water crisis, Wayne, and let's go to Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi showering in a hotel while people are queuing with buckets. Somebody likened it to Marie Antoinette saying, "Let them eat cake." Lesufi, "Let them shower in hotels." Your thoughts?
Yeah, sometimes politicians should keep quiet before speaking or whatever comes to their mind. And this is a real own goal. Again, the city of Johannesburg is facing an immense water crisis right now. I also understand Ekurhuleni is also experiencing this right now. And this extends not just to the suburbs, but to working class areas, to townships, to the inner city of these metropolitan areas. This is a major challenge. And if the ANC and its coalition partners cannot turn it around, I think it'll pay a price at the ballot box. Just to remind viewers and listeners, Johannesburg is a city with the most residents in the country. Gauteng is the province with the most residents in this country. And it's also where much of the media is located. BizNews, one of the exceptions in beautiful Hermanus. But if there's a negative media sentiment, which I believe there is right now, about this water crisis, and it's understandable, I think it does not bode well for Dada Morero and the ANC. And they need an urgent plan which shows an improvement. I mean, this has been a problem, a crisis festering for many months now and possibly years. And we are in an election year, and there needs to be an urgency. I know Dada Morero unveiled the bomb squad. Residents haven't seen this bomb squad do much. Now is the time for action. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of ANC councillors who will lose their proportional representation seats at the very least come the next election. There are few greater challenges facing the ANC right now in this water crisis.
Michelle's the mom who traded in her Fiat 500 for this beast right here. But why the momentous move, huh?
I needed something bigger to keep up with my growing son and his many sports bags.
When you traded in your car with We Buy Cars, was it an easy conversion?
I see what you did there. The process was just so easy. I was given a tablet, had to sign, and that was it.
Basically, We Buy Cars is no mess, no... Okay, it was nice chatting. We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
And closing our show tonight, our partners at Bloomberg speak to Siemens CEO Roland Busch, who says US data center demand remains very strong as the company raises guidance.
Is there any sense of concern, Roland, at all, that the data center part of the business, the electrification story, that will not ultimately be fulfilled, that order backlog may not be realized? Do you have any sense of concern about that at all?
Not at this point in time, and not for the fiscal year 26. That keeps on going for a while. Will that high growth rates keep on going for the next, 5 years or more? I don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. The point is that currently most of the compute goes into training models, large models, as you see. But what you see in our trend is that more and more models are trained on the data the models did not see yet, proprietary data, for example, our design data, simulation data, and the like. And that's something which can kick in as well as inferencing. Once you train the models in the cloud and you bring it on the shop floor, then you have another impact. So therefore, we will see how dynamic, how fast AI is hitting really the real world. We believe that this happens very fast. But from that perspective, we see still there's a good growth. There might be shortages on power supply or supply maybe on GPUs, but since the supply chain is also ramping up, we believe that this keeps on going.
And you think that the CapEx spend, the commitments from those hyperscalers, $650 billion US potentially this year, that is rational?
I mean, I didn't make the math of all the commitment which everybody gave, including the investment banks. Adding that up, there might be a slippage, but if you take even a slippage into consideration, still enough money for a market to keep on going.
And you've got a record backlog now. About 120 billion euros is the backlog. What are the constraints around delivering that backlog? Are you able to deliver on those orders?
Clear, yes. I mean, we really invested early enough. So we doubled our manufacturing capacity for medium low voltage in the United States, exactly for data centers. We increased capacity for rolling stock. By the way, big backlog comes also for rolling stock. So we have capacity. We invested in capacity, also in capacity for our automation devices. So that's not the problem. We will deliver.
That's been tonight's BizNews Briefing. I'm Kerry Lanigan for biznews.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.